Now the first step in the instructions, after we've got some of those little pieces assembled that weren't reflected there, is to put the wings together. And you can use a number of different kinds of glue to put it together. You're going to notice there's not a wing spar, and we're going to talk more about that in just a few minutes. But what I'm going to choose to use is the glue that came with the kit. You can use polyurethane glue like Gorilla Glue. Again, this EPO will take a medium viscosity CA and a kicker if you'd like. So there's a number of things that you can do. I've had pretty good glue luck with the Dynam glue, but I'm going to want to reinforce it, and like I say, I'll talk about that in just a few minutes. So as we work on this, we're going to put the glue along this edge and on the tab, and we're going to do that on both sides. We're going to put the pieces together, wiggle them around a little bit, pull them apart, and I'm going to let them just air for just a few seconds, because this is really kind of a rubber cement, contact cement kind of glue. And then I'm going to put these together. And then as you can also see there that I've got some masking tape holding the wires out of the way, so I don't have to get through this and then have to go fishing for wires that have fallen through the channels that they've come up with. So let's put the glue on right now. Now we'll go after the other side here. In the recessed area that the tab on the other wing is going to come through on. And then the next step is going to be to glue these plastic pieces in. So I'm going to go on to the bottom side and get some glue there too. So I'm not trying to hold the wing together and manipulate the tube of glue at the same time. This stuff doesn't dry that fast, so getting it on there is not going to be a problem. Then the other thing I'm going to do is put some on the sleeve part of this plastic part that's going to go in there, because it calls for these to be glued down, as opposed to, just screwed in and holding them together if you were going to take them apart. I'm not planning to take the wings obviously apart because there's no spar and we've just put glue all over them. So I'm going to cover this up with some glue. Yours are going to be blue. I've painted mine white so that it goes as part of the paint job for the tricolor Corsair that we're putting together. Okay, so we've got the glue on both sides. It's had a little bit of time to get some air on it to start it getting tacky. And we're just going to put this together, wiggling it around a little bit. You can see the glue is tacky. It started to get those threads between the two pieces, which is what we're hoping to do, what we want to do here. I'm going to get some more painter's tape, and then on the inside I'm putting the painter's tape to hold these two pieces together. Again, just sticking it on. It's the inside, it's going to be covered by the fuselage, so I really don't care about whether it's on the paint or not. And then I'm going to mount these plastic pieces in their respective places and hope that that's going to add some strength as these wings dry. That fits tightly. I don't want to take the paint off, so a couple of my fingers have got a little bit of glue on them, so I want to be careful with that. It's all in there, it's all tight, it's all aligned. And because we allowed that glue to air out just a bit, it is tacky and sticky already. So we're in good shape and the wings are together. So while the wings are drying, and we've got the glue out, we're going to finish up really about the last thing besides maybe the radio antenna that we're going to have to do any gluing on. And so we're going to glue the tail feathers together, and they just simply fit together. I'm going to dry fit them to make sure I know what it's going to do. Yep, that works very well. And so I've got my glue out, again the kit glue. Put it on there. Slide those pieces together. Spread it around. Give it a little bit of air. And just like that, we got those guys together. So we're going to let those set up, and then we'll be able to mount them to the back of the fuselage. Now, speaking of the fuselage, there's a tail wheel that needs to go on next, so that's what we'll do. So to mount the tail wheel, it's really pretty easy. There's a little bushing right here with a grub screw attached in it that the little hex key they provided for you will use, and then the tail wheel assembly itself is right here. You'll notice that there's a little flat piece right along the support, which will allow the grub screw to take hold, and you won't run the risk of it spinning around loosely. Again, use the hex key that came with the kit, or if you have a set that you want to use, it doesn't matter. Tighten the grub screw, and it's ready to go. Nothing to it. It's time to mount the tail feathers now, so let's do that. They're just going to slide in, raise the control rod up a little bit to fit them in there. And they fit pretty nice in there. Now what we're going to do, just rotate. I have a screwdriver. The screws that I have for the kit, I've already dropped in so that I can fit them in the holes there. Screw that in. You can feel it bind. Get it out. Go after the rear one. And again, just screw that in. And we've got the tail surfaces then mounted tight to the back of the airplane. Not much to it. Now with the tail surfaces mounted, it's time to put the clevises into the control horns. Now, it's likely that these are not going to be the right length, and these just screw on, so the control rods are threaded, and so you just rotate these and work them through. Now on this particular one, I had to rotate quite a ways, and it had to push through the end of the plastic, so it bound a little bit, but you just twist through it when you see the control rod start to come through the end of it there inside the loop. Just keep twisting until you get it correct. And then you can adjust the flight control and then twist it in and out a little bit to get exactly the right length. So I think I've got it pretty close to the correct way. And so now what I'm just going to do is I've got a common screwdriver. I'm going to go in there and separate this just gently to get it into the hole. I'm just going to pick the outside hole to start with, and I've got it in there just like that. Now you're going to squeeze and snap those together, but I'm not going to snap them together quite yet. I'm going to wait until I start doing some of the trimming with the radio, so I don't end up breaking off that little nub that snaps in case I have to do a mechanical adjustment. And I've done the same thing on the underside here as well. So you can see that I've got the screwed the clevis down, not as much as the other one, put it in the outside hole according to the picture in the instructions, and then done the other side down here on the bottom as well. So that goes together pretty easily. When I've got it trimmed up, what I like to do is use some 4-inch cable ties or zip ties and put them around here. Other people like to use fuel tubing that you can slide up over them that keeps them closed over the control horn so that you don't end up losing that control surface if this were to pop out and come apart. So that's where we've got going right now. Now we're going to finish up with the wings. You may recall when we were talking about strengthening the wings, or when we were putting the wings together, I mentioned that I was going to discuss something with you, and that is what I did was use my hobby knife and the blade of a hacksaw actually to cut a channel across here. It goes about 1 inch or so either side of the seams, and I did that in 3 places. I left this area unpainted so you could see where it was. I did another one here and then another one down near the bottom, and I used a piece of carbon fiber strip. Now this stuff is fairly flexible when you fold it the flat way, but when you fold it the long way it's really hard. And so what I did is I just cut the carbon fiber, used a little polyurethane glue, and then laid it into that channel and then let the glue set up. So some of the whiteness you see is where the foaming action of the polyurethane glue was as it sealed up the area around that piece of carbon fiber. Really the only areas where the little cutout is where the 2 wings overlap, and so when you're gluing, you're really just gluing the surfaces together, and if you're going to fly the airplane aggressively, there's a chance that the wings are going to buckle on you. And so my hope is that by adding the carbon fiber across the top here, you can use a carbon rod instead of this carbon strip, and they're available easily. But again, my hope is that that's going to add some stiffness and some support from each side of the wing to bolster the support that's from the 2 plastic pieces that are glued in when we put the wings together. So now let's fish the wires into the cockpit and mount the wings and see what it looks like.